Welcome. You're listening to an Adventures in Middle-earth actual play using Fantasy Grounds. You can find session summaries, items and characters on Obsidian Portal, where our campaign is called In the Shadow of the Mountains. Last episode, the party arrived in Dale, where they joined in on the festivities with mixed results, met King Bard, and undertook to make a long-abandoned farmhouse ready for newlywed occupants.
Bard basically didn't commit to give you a pony until you're travelling west, but you've got no more than 20-30 miles to go. It's easy going and you can get there fairly easily, so you're fairly confident in doing that. Okay, and not more than a day's walk away, you decide not to push on. You decide to push on for. Hang on, with the link on, that's better. Up to the night, because you're pretty confident of where you're going, and so early evening, of probably about equivalent to 8 o'clock, you push on for another 2 or 3 hours over where you maybe have done it before, and you actually strangely see the farmhouse or the farmstead. It's dark, but you cross probably 100 yards from the farmstead, some very crudely ploughed stretch of land. And as you come up what looks like it's been a path that hasn't seen a lot of use, but it's not seen no use in 5 years. It's not overgrown with weeds. And I'll just place you on the map so you can see it. So you're walking up a path, and in the distance, now only 100 feet ahead of you, maybe, you can see a house. And most interesting of all, out of this window and that window, you can see some light, and that window as well. So it very much looks like there are people living in it.
Does someone want to go and take a look, or should we just knock on the door, or what?
Well, I'm not too sneaky, so it probably would be me going forward.
We all turn and look at Sigmar the Lucky.
Sigmar, do you want to do anything?
Though weirdly has stealth +2, Monan. But I presume in that clanking armor that's a disadvantage.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. Okay.
I'm
do you want to sneak and have a look for the windows?
Yeah.
I mean, what could go wrong? You've been rolling like a blinder tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm expecting 320s.
I accidentally run forward and crash through a window. Okay, so...
That's as good as it gets.
Looking nice. Okay. You creep up, I'll move you, Neil, up to this window quietly, and kind of, it's not... in fact, you look around a couple of them, and that one doesn't have a
shutter
on it. It's got some old cloth that seems to be used as curtains, but it doesn't fully clothe it. You peer in and you see what looks like a fairly well appointed dining room. It's brick floored, which is not usual in farms. None of the places in Rowanhold had brick floors. And it's actually got a table on a rug, and the rug doesn't look covered in dirt and dust in the room. And there's a smoking torch lit in an alcove. It looks like it's replaced a lantern, but it's there's a torch smoking in the eastern wall there.
So it looks,
no one in it.
Does it look newly repaired? The new brick floor or olden wall?
No, it's sturdy. It looks like the farm itself could be probably 50 to 100 years old. Definitely not new. The floor's old, but it's fairly clean, and that surprised you for something that's this old. And
the lights surprised me a bit more than the cleanliness.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the lights are quite a surprise. They don't, unless they're magical lights, which you don't get a lot of. So.
There's nobody about. Can I hear anybody moving around?
Give me a perception in the tower.
It's a 20, isn't it, John?
Yeah, you can. Wow, look at that! Neil's first high roll of the day. You can hear You could swear that you could hear a woman maybe crying.
Now you know the
Strangely.
secret, Neil. Every time you roll the dice tonight, just close your eyes.
But that's all really.
All right. Well, I'll make a shush gesture to the rest of them, and then a beckon gesture. And while they're moving up, I'll creep round to the other window with light coming out of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you still use the same sneak, so you can move yourself. That's fine.
Peer from the edge to start with.
Okay, let's see if it's open. Oh yeah, so this is even easier. There is a probably 28, 30-year-old man in the room, sitting, looking at the fire. Looks like he's smoking and just contemplating, but he's not concentrating on you at all. It's about 9 o'clock now. It's a bit later.
Well, then I'll creep back to the others and basically explain what I've just seen. It's very peculiar. Seems to be a family living there, but I can hear crying. Not quite sure what we should do. Maybe I should just go and knock.
Well, we've got the King's authority. We've met the owner yesterday, so unless these guys can come up with a convincing story as to why they're living there, I presume they're trespassing. But
well, you can kind of understand their point of view. The place has been empty for 6 years.
Well, it's like, if you're starvingly hungry and you take a pig, and this is if you want to farm and there's one that's been empty for 5 years, it's reasonable assumption that no one's using it and the owner's dead. And that's another moral dilemma.
Well, shall I go and knock? Sorry, what was that?
It's bad, but sure, there's plenty of other empty farms around here. We'll just have to move them on.
Okay. So you're going to all go up to the door and knock?
I think so.
Everyone give me stealth.
The windows.
Are you moving up stealthily or not?
No, I think we just walk up normally and knock on the door. We've got no reason to hide.
Are the other windows? They're all boarded.
So those are the only ones you saw lights coming out of.
Okay.
In all of the, you haven't been around all of it, but you don't see any obvious lights on the dirt and stuff around on the outside of the rest of the house. Okay, if you move yourself all up to the door, are you? Sorry, I'm assuming you're going up with that.
I don't know. I think maybe we should just open the door and walk our way in. Let's not give them no chance to prepare anything. But I'm more of a straight through kind of guy.
If you carry a big hammer, everything looks like a nail suitable to hit. So.
How about this? Let's start with charming and polite, and then turn it up to
threatening, malevolent,
immovable, and unstoppable.
I'm just thinking that was me in there, and some people, strangers, came to me and said, "We've got some non-existent orders here for you to get out of here." I think I'd be resistant to that.
Yep, I agree with that.
That's why I think we should go in from a position of power.
Well, then would we be intimidating them out of the house?
Well, they'll have to move some way, and I don't know. It seems a bit bad, but it's not their house.
Well, these are simple folk. Maybe we should just try and reason first.
Well, they will know, because we're in the right, they will know that they have stumbled across this house. They've got no right to it. And so in the back of their mind, they will be expecting the possibility of the claimants coming back. They may not know that the claimant is a friend of King Bard and therefore there's an awful lot of authority behind this, but they must be thinking at some point someone may come along and say, "Oi, that's our house." So if we say to them, "This house is being reclaimed," they're not going to think, "No, it bloody isn't. This has been in our family for generations." Because that isn't the case.
You speak with wisdom again, Hasses.
Who's doing the talking? I'm assuming everyone's moving up now.
Not me.
I think maybe
well, Sigmar can turn on the charm when he wants to.
Yeah, I'm more logic and less charm. So maybe try the charm route.
All right, so you're going on and knocking?
Attempt to turn the charm on anyway. see what happens.
Okay,
yeah, I'll knock on the door.
Knock on the door, no worries. So give me a perception check in the tower. So I'll try and make it perception. Anyone you really have to roll without knowing. Okay. After about 30 seconds, the door opens and there is a man and a woman who's standing a little bit back from the front door, and he's looking out into the darkness. You guys haven't got any torches lit, and there's none in the hallway. Who's there? What do you all want?
Good evening. How are you? My name is Sigmar of Dale, and these are my friends.
Oh, Abby, why are you sick there? It's all right, Sandy. It's just some fellas maybe looking for a place to sleep for the night or something. What do you? Oh, in fact, I don't know. What do you want?
Well, we're kind of a bit surprised. We were expecting this place to be unoccupied. You see, I'm not sure if you know this, but unfortunately, even though you appear to be living here, it actually belongs to a war hero
Advised
named
to the king.
Odvarr.
I don't think it does.
Well, he hasn't lived here since the battle. We've kind of been asked to come by and just make sure the place is in order for his daughter to move in, and rather surprised to find it occupied.
Around the corner, you see another woman sort of peek round, and it looks like the other two have seen her. And she looks like her nose a bit red, and she looks like she might have been crying. But and she looks slightly older than the couple. So she's probably mid 30s. She doesn't say anything. She just looks at you, Sigmar.
I smile at her.
They look over their shoulder and said, "What are you doing up? Get back to bed." The man says.
This is an older woman, yeah?
He's a bit older
You
than
all right,
the
my
two,
dear?
so he's probably late 20s, and she scuttles back and disappears out of sight, and you hear a door close.
Is she all right? She looked awfully upset.
She's fine, bit stupid. Anyway, let's talk about this in the morning. It's late now. We've got some space if you want to come in out of the cold. We even got a remnants of the fire if you want to sleep bed down in that room. We can talk about it all in the morning.
That's very
How does he seem? Does he seem sort of at ease?
Give me, you're in your element here. You should. Let me just see what skill would be relevant for you. Probably insight. Give me an insight to see if you can pick anything.
Insight? Is that in the tower or?
Yeah, sorry. Okay. He seems quite surprised to see anyone, and quite surprised that anyone's claiming ownership of the place. But also, he doesn't seem as happy-go-lucky as you saw, and he kind of introduced himself as. Definitely, things are still hidden from you.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I mean, I'm expecting that, but I mean, yeah. Do I get the impression that he's going to
murder us in our beds?
or something like that? But
No, you didn't get that impression.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. I'll step in.
Okay. So he lets you all in. You don't see the rest of the house, but if you move yourselves into this room, he basically says, "Well, see you in the morning. Are you taking any precautions overnight?"
Use a condom.
Very sensible.
Monan's just gonna.
We keep going with the
once
guard
we're
rotor.
inside, Monan's actually gonna start looking through the other rooms.
Okay.
He'll
Are
have
you doing
his
that with your
weapon out.
armor off? Or?
No, he'll have his armor on, weapon out. So basically, as he walked through, got invited in, puts his bow away, and as soon as he's through, just unslings the warhammer, pulls out the shield, and just starts looking through the doors. I think you think that you're in charge here. Well, we're under orders to have this place secure, so I'll have a look round here, and I'll tell you if we're to stay here, and if you'll be outside on your arses.
So, I like it. He looks visibly a bit scared of you, and also a bit pissed off. But you do uncover something. Well, you do get to look around all of it. Right. So in
God,
this
God,
room, there's a bedroom. That's a rug on the floor, not a well. There's two kids. As you open the door, they scream as a armored dwarf opens the door, and the woman pushes her shoulder against it to try and close it and says, "Leave us alone!" And then you kind of wrestle your way a bit in a bit, and she kind of backs off into the corner and grabs her two kids and kind of sits on the bed looking at you. So that's that room. We can come back to that interaction in a little bit if you want. This area here is like a food prep kitchen area. There's a stove, there's a table and stuff like that. This room looks like a bedroom, not been used. There's no mattress or anything on the bed. There's nothing really in it. And that there is a tub. There's actually a curtain across the end of the hall there. So it looks like this place has been used for months, if not years. It's not recently being cut into. There's no signs of damp anywhere as you look around. The stonework looks pretty good, mowed in as you give it into each room. And in the top room, the couple, as you open the door, were talking in low voices and stop when you open it. And she stands with a hand on her hip and looks at you with the head cocked until you kind of close the door behind you again, and then you go back to the others.
Okay,
you can interact with the family.
Yeah, he'll start with the kids first, and so he'll look at the older lady and say, "Ye, keep quiet here. Used to, we bollocks. What you doing here?"
They look at Mum, and she nods at them and says, "Nothing, sir, nothing."
Who's this woman?
This is my mum.
Who are those two in the other room there?
The two kids look at each other and say, "That's Aunt Sandy and Uncle Treal."
Are they kind to you?
They look at each other again and say, "Yes, all the time. They're really nice."
All right then, I'm happy enough. Sleep well, wee bollocks.
Give me an insight check in the tower. Yeah, you could tell they were definitely lying when you asked about, are they nice to them?
Okay. He'll still keep up the ruse then and walk back to the rest of the party and then tell him what he's just said and what he's just actually picked up as well.
So the woman says, "Don't hurt us, Master Dwarf, don't hurt us." And
I'm not going to hurt you, for God's sake.
And then, okay, so you're back in there, you close the door, and you're back in with the rest of the crew in the lounge. It's nice and warm actually in here. It's a very nice house.
So somebody crying, two kids who don't think they're being treated fairly, but scared enough to say they are. I don't like this.
No. I think she's the weak link. I think she will tell what's going on. She's probably just more scared of them at the moment than they actually is of us.
Well, I can change that if you like.
Oh, yeah. We don't have to do that now, but we can do that tomorrow, but maybe let her think on it overnight.
So how much do we trust him?
Okay, so then, are you taking any precautions overnight?
I think we keep watch. I think we should assume we're in hostile territory and keep watch as normal.
So have we decided we're going to wait till morning then?
Yeah, as a dwarf saying, if we can't do it now, what's the point?
Yeah.
Let's do it now.
Okay. I'll get out my sleeping bag and take my pyjamas back off and then get back. It's getting warm and comfortable there, but never mind. Okay.
Put my teddy bear bag away.
Exactly.
Well, how tired am I? Can I feel like I could sit up all night? Or
yeah, you're much more used to travelling than you were a few months ago. So you're kind of the routine of getting on watch. You're pretty used to. I think you'd be okay doing it.
Well, let's just try and get to the bottom of it in the next in game time, sort of like hour. So like literally just try and work it out. Then maybe we don't have to worry about staying up all night.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, 15, 20 minutes later, you've got to like a resolution of what you wanted to do. It's like, I don't know, 9:30, 9:45. Most farmers are in bed by 8 because it gets dark. So but the house is quietening down. Looks like someone's put out the torches, and it's getting dark.
What do you
Yeah,
feel
as you
about
kind of
maybe
peek through
moving
the
the kids and the mum to our room and having a little sterner talk with them?
Don't know. I think I'd rather kind of see if anything happens during the night. As in, I'm expecting him to either do something tonight, or not.
Well, I'd be I'd be worried about them something happening while we sleep, or them doing something to those people who might be able to somehow incriminate them in any way. That's why I'd rather have them sleeping with us in our room. So if they really is going to try anything overnight, they have to come to us.
Well, I can creep up there and whisper to them to kind of move into our room quietly.
And there's 2 windows
Right.
into that room you saw, Monin.
Yeah, I mean, as Mona would say, I'd be much happier with them if they're here under our eyes. So if just the little ones, they look scared, and bring them in,
Yeah.
look after them tonight. So however you want to do that, Sycamore, just bring them here if you can.
Can you get out through the windows, John?
Yeah, they
I
are.
see not. Okay, I'll go out through our window, creep around the side of the house, go up to Ware's window, and say, "Hey, listen." And if there's a reply, I'll say, "Come and stay in our room. We'll be safe there."
So after about 30 seconds, woman's face kind of comes out of the gloom. It's dark. The only light you've got is moonlight. And the only person I think you can see pretty well in here is Monin. And
I think I've got the night vision actually.
Oh, do you? Okay. So in that case, you can see pretty well as well. So she looks really scared, but also protective. So the kids you can't really see them, but they're not near her. And
I'll say to her, "Listen, I can see you're frightened. My name is Sigmar of Dale. We've been sent here by the king. You'll be safe in our room. We'll look after you. Nothing will happen to you. You have my word." And I put my hand out through the window.
So she looks desperately over her shoulder at the children, and then looks back at you, and there's tears in her eyes, and she says, "What can you do?" In a very quiet whisper.
What'd she say?
"What can you do?"
"We can protect you. We can keep you safe."
Okay. And she's like sobbing a bit. And then she says, What do we do? What do you want us to do?"
"Come through the window. Bring your children. Come into our room."
Then she whispers, "Dan, Jet, quickly." And the kids, they're basically it's basically big baggy shirts that they could have been farming shirts at one point, much too big for them. They come across, they all look incredibly impoverished, and much more so actually than the other couple now you've noticed. And Pridee climbs out, and then behind her 2 kids come out as well, herding back round to the other room. So just give me a stealth check at -2 in the tower, because you're trying to
You
basically
can take the 2 off
take it
that.
manually. All right. One of Neil's special roles there. As the kid, sorry, there you go, Neil. That's another great one. So, as the kids, the little boy Tan was climbing out of the window. He stumbles, and his mother goes, "Tan!" and he shrieks a bit as he kind of falls headlong into the yard. You immediately hear, within seconds, door open. You hear footsteps outside, Monin, going up the corridor. You don't see anything. Can you all roll initiative? There's not combat, but I just want to kind of go through in order to see what happens.
Oh, piss.
Yeah, you're faster than me.
Don't want to go fast. Don't know what the hell to do.
Rather hate this. What do you want to do?
I'll cast far.
You heard you did hear a little bit of noise from outside, like a kid's a mum's concerned cry, basically, and then you heard some footsteps, which obviously someone else heard that from the hallway outside as well.
I'm going to. Bloody hell! I'm free to beat me.
Sorry, I forgot to roll for
Sorry, back up to Amalfrida. I hate that you've got a short
Reprieve.
Okay, Amalfrida will... I don't know how to play her character. Sometimes she's a bit unsure of herself the way Stuart plays her.
Yeah, she normally waits for an
Yeah,
adult to do something, basically.
Yeah, she'll take a step forward and then... Actually, won't do that because it'll take a turn up. Just looks towards Mona for guidance.
Okay.
Oh, back to me again. That was no help at all. What's Hathis going to do? So he's heard a child sort of squawk outside the mother call Tan, and then heard a door open and someone walks down a corridor in a purposeful manner, like what's going on with the slave labour or whatever it is. Hathis isn't into confrontation, so he will probably just look at Monin and follow Monin's lead for a bit.
Okay. So next up...
Can I speak when it's not my turn?
Yeah, they're looking scared, the kids are. So just before you get a chance to speak... so no, it's strictly no, the free action you can take on your turn. It's just to give people a bit of time, but your turn's coming up pretty soon. All you hear... So the kids are looking really scared, don't do anything. But you do hear the other woman saying something muffled inside. It was a querying sort of query. Then Sigmar, you get to act.
Okay, I'm going to go whisper, go, and then to point in the direction they're going to go. And then I'm going to step to the side, essentially where the boy is. I'm going to step to there, with my back against the wall. So if anybody sticks their head out the window, I'm going to yank him out of it.
Okay, so the kids are essentially ready in action. They run, and you see Tan run and hide behind the tree there, and Jet run as well, hide behind the tree. Mother looks a bit petrified, hasn't acted yet. Is that so? You've basically hidden around.
Yeah, so basically I'm moving to there and holding my action readying an action to yank anybody out the window if they stick their head out of it.
Okay. You hear a door open in the room you've just come out of, and Treal swearing under his breath, and then he goes out. You hear the door close again, and he doesn't appear to pop his head out the window. I'm sorry, you hear another door open. Monin.
Okay, Monin takes a step outside to about there, crosses his arms and just looks down the corridor, waiting for anybody to walk past so he'll be able to address them. If they do walk past, he's just going to go, get to your room.
Okay, you hear some low talking going on, and then it just kind of stops. That's all you can really hear. And you're looking in a very stoic dwarven stance in the middle of the hallway. Pridee then reacts and, oh my gosh, what's going on with me? And she runs up after her kids and runs up to the tree. That's all she does. They seem fairly well hidden from what you can see. Amalfrida's time to act.
Okay, she takes a few steps out just to see what Mona's up to.
Yeah, nothing in there. So, Amalfrida, I'm not sure you've got great night vision. Don't think so. So, it's dark in here, really. The only light coming from the fireplace right now.
Mona will tell Amalfrida just to look to the children.
So, she'll hop out the window. I guess you don't know where the children are actually at the moment.
Yeah, so I think she'll just wait around until she sees something.
Okay. Hathis
will stick his head out the window and look around to see what's going on. Because that's the window that Sigmar went out of, so that's what he's expecting to come back in. So it's kind of like, where are they? What's going on? I presume he can't see anyone, but that's what he's doing.
Yeah, give me a perception at disadvantage because it's really dark.
Yeah. In the tower, yeah?
Yeah, sorry. Perception is the one in the tower. No, you can't see anything. It's just really dark outside.
Yeah.
It looks like it's pretty cloudy now compared with when you got here.
Mm-hmm. And that's all he's doing, really, because he's not quite sure what's happening. So let's move on to the next actor.
Okay. Sigmar, nothing. No one's come out of there or poked their head out the window yet.
Then I shall sneak into the window and up to the door and listen.
Give me a perception in the tower. You can hear low voices and what sounds like a window being closed.
I'll burst out of the room and head to the bedroom.
So move, it was difficult terrain going over there, so it's 5, 10, 15, 20. That's about 40. You can't do anything else this round. You could basically climbed in, listened a bit, and then gone up the corridor to there.
There I am.
Okay.
Yeah, so I might just see me burst out of the corridor.
Yeah, Is Monin's looking a bit worried.
Yeah, Mona looks like he's about to
Okay.
tell you to go back into the room, and then realizes it's you.
Next up is Monin.
Yeah, he'll mouth the words, "Where are the couple?"
I'll point towards their door. Well, basically, I'm in mid-run towards their door at the moment.
Okay, so yeah, Monin, you can tell that Sigmar ain't stopping. He's basically kind of running around the corner. Do you want to move up as
Yeah,
part of your...
I'll move up to
action?
try and support him, see what he's doing.
All right.
Because he clearly doesn't know what's going on, so he's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, no worries.
They're going out.
Frida...
I don't know if I can say that.
Well,
Yeah,
she
I
heard
don't
the
mind
children,
that.
so yeah, I guess she doesn't know who the children is anyway. So I think she'd be quite confused at this point. Probably just fall in beside.
Just
Monin.
stay in the doorway or something.
Yeah,
Or
okay.
Just
Yeah,
move up a bit. Yeah,
stay in the doorway.
just move up a little bit. Okay.
Hathis will stay at the window, waiting for anyone to come along, whether it's Sigmar or the other people, and then he'll help them through the window if they come along. And he'll be a visible face at the window of pretty much, this is the window you're coming to, yeah?
Okay. Sigmar, your chance to act. So you're still running up to the door, yeah?
Yeah, so basically I'm going to burst through their bedroom door. I'm assuming that they've climbed out of their window, basically. So I'm going to burst through their door and head to their window. Obviously, if that's not the case, then I'm going to...
Okay, so you dive in. Treal is still there.
That's the bloke, is it?
Bloke, yeah. He's standing by the bed, and he's looking at you. He's not armed. He says, "What's the matter? What did you hear?"
What are you up to? You're up to no good, and I can tell.
Me?
You.
Little
You and
old
your
me?
wife.
Well, she got scared. I was trying to stop her, but you scared her. She's run off.
You harm those children, and you'll have us to answer to.
We're their uncle and aunt. We're not going to harm the children.
I know a liar when I see one.
Well, let's get... Where are the kids? They might be in danger.
They're not in danger from you anymore.
If we're in danger from me, I'm hard working trying to keep them fed.
I've seen fear, and they've got fear in their eyes, and it's fear of you.
Well, sometimes have to beat them if they don't do what they've been asked, but that's just normal upbringing stuff.
Beat him? You want me to beat you?
No. He doesn't look that scared of you, but he doesn't look... He's not armed, and he's not itching for a fight either.
So are we out of initiative now, I guess?
Yeah, we're taking out of initiative. So she's disappeared. You don't know exactly where. Do you want to tell someone where the kids went? You saw them run off towards that tree, basically. So if you do that, Amalfrida can go and pick them up.
Yeah, I'll whisper to her whether I don't want him to hear whether.
Yeah, okay.
I'll say to Monin, I think you were right about this fella. He's a wrong un. Those kids are terrified of him.
What basically happens in the next 5 minutes? She doesn't return. Sandy doesn't.
Okay.
Sandy, his wife. Doesn't seem that worried that she's not returned. But you get all the kids and the mum back into the lounge again, and you obviously don't let him in there. And look, everyone go to sleep. You're clearly got good hearts. Let cool heads prevail in the morning. When Sandy's back, and we'll make sure everyone's over a nice cup of tea, calmly talk about this.
Who's she fetching?
Make an insight check in the tower. Make it in the open. Sorry.
At that as well. At the same time he's doing that. Oh God's sake!
Oh Jesus!
Holy crap! You must have rolled like
implicitly.
You've rolled
5
nothing.
Yeah,
over.
he's very very convincing that she's just scared. Okay.
Neil, you're cursed, I tell you.
Next time it can only be better.
Yeah, oh God, I hope so. But I'm not even the one rolling the dice, Neil. Mona will just check the kids over. Are there any obvious welts, bruises on their arms, their legs? Actually, can I ask Hathis to do that? Because he's probably more clever to do that.
Yeah, I can do a
Or Amalfrida probably wouldn't like a middle-aged guy with a beard checking.
Yeah, don't worry, you're safe now, kids. You're with MJ, Jimmy, and Savile.
Yeah.
So Amalfrida looks over them. They're grubby, and they're not beaten, but they've got grip marks. You can see where fingers have gripped their upper arms, for example. Mainly on the boy. The girl doesn't have many marks on her at all.
So, in kind of like, would we be aware of the time typically how children would be treated, would this be normal? Because we were thinking more of a 21st century mind.
Not necessarily. I mean, what kind of could be, and this is me not knowing what Middle Earth farming families bring up their kids, but my assumption would be there might be kind of formal punishments for stuff like a bit of a whooping if they, I don't know, didn't get the milk in. But this looks like more casual, just angry stuff. It's not like, doesn't got like lash marks across his ass or anything. This is gripped and shaken type stuff. So you'd probably say not typical. It's not the sort of thing a mum would do.
Okay, so that was the end of that session. So you join us now at the beginning of the next session, where Pridee and her children have come back inside, and we're all inside now, really trying to decide what to do.
So you are basically all in the lounge yourselves. Treal, you're assuming, is in his own bedroom, and you don't know where Sandy's gone.
It would be good if we could find out from this good lady who's with us what has been going on, hear her side of the story. I would like to reassure her, and I'll say this loud enough so she can definitely hear me, that she is now, I would consider, under our protection and should be safe from the menaces of Treal and Sand. So she and her children should be safe from now on. I'm sure my colleagues will agree with that.
Yeah.
So you close the door, and she keeps looking nervously at it a bit, and then looks up to you and says, "Well, we've been living here for going on 2 years now, and these two folk, they only arrived about maybe a month ago. He's a nasty piece of work, and she's not much better, and they've taken over. They've been eating the stuff we put aside, and they've not been pulling their weight. Seen a couple of other rough-looking folk around with them, but they're not around at the moment.
That's why I think Sandy's
really scared of them.
Yeah, I think Sandy's gone to get reinforcements to say there's trouble, come and help. So are you related to these two at all? They claim you're to be, I think, your brother and sister-in-law. Are you related to them, or are they complete strangers to you until a month ago?
Don't know who they are till a month ago.
Okay, so they've just turned up, taken over.
Yep.
That's not very nice, is it?
No, and you can tell that she's looking through her like fringe and hairline at you. She's got some bruising around her eye. Now you've looked quite closely.
And is there anything we should know about them in terms of tricks they might pull, or ways they like to hurt people, or things they might do that we should be aware of, so we can be forewarned?
Well, I'm not sure they're that dangerous, but they're just rogues.
Okay.
They've not like hurt the kids or anything. I asked them to go, and he hit me. So that's all we've got really.
Okay. Just a bully there.
Just a bit of
fireplace crackling
music in the
going on in the background. One of them burst into flames.
Spontaneous combustion.
So if I can get this on, I'm still trying to catch up a little bit, folks. So as far as we're aware, this farmstead that we're in doesn't actually belong to any of these people.
No.
And it looks like Pridee kind of came here, if I've got this right, 2 years ago or so, settled in what was an abandoned farm. And then, a couple of weeks ago, these other two ne'er-do-wells turned up?
About 4 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
Spot on. She kind of takes a deep breath and casts her eyes down and says, "It's been tough for us since my husband died 5 years ago and never came back from the battle. And we've been kind of on our own since then." And he takes another bit of a deep breath and says, "It's hard looking after two young'uns when you got only one of you."
No, I think you've done very well. It's just a shame these bullies have turned up to try and ride on the coattails of what you've done here.
Amalfreda will probably look across at Moaning before she says, "Well, we think we can kick these bullies out. They don't belong here. We think you've done a grand job looking after your two nippers and everything. Or you think those other bullies should be kicked out?"
It's not as simple as that, unfortunately, Amalfreda, because the place that they're in here belongs to somebody else who wants it back. So do you have anywhere else you can go?
She looks a bit scared when you say that and says, "No, this is the first safe place we found for 2 years. That's why we stayed here. And look at the things that are growing outside in the morning. We planted all that. This is all running wild when we got here 2 years ago."
Aye, but as you know, you should have really checked with the authorities here to make sure who owned the land. You've run somebody else's land, and I'm afraid that's really your fault. But I'm not heartless. I mean, there's a lot of people who died in that battle, so I'm sure there's plenty of places that are free, and we could maybe have a word with Bard and see if there's anywhere that you could move to or help with, or maybe you could stay on here and help with the people who do own this house.
I mean, you could say that we were sent here to basically get this place a little bit ship-shape and get it ready for habitation, and maybe sort of kick-start it from the presumed rundown state it would be in. So the fact that you have done an awful lot of the legwork already over an extended period of time is actually to everyone's benefit. And there may well be gratitude from either Bard or from Odvarr that you have actually put in a lot of work over an extended period of time and got this place in a much better state than we expected to find it.
She looks a bit more optimistic and kind of.
How big is this as a farmstead, John? Is this small, sort of single, or could I don't know? I mean, Amalfrid is sort of as local as I suppose anybody else. Is it perhaps possible that Odvarr might need some tenant farmers?
Yeah, so Odvarr's, all you know is Odvarr's daughter and prospective husband are going to be relocating here from Dale. Running a farmstead of this size, you would estimate it's going to be 40, 50 acres maybe.
Right.
Would be pretty tough with two people, and that's assuming they're farmers. So there is a possibility that they could be accommodated here. It's got some space. I mean, they're only a couple right now. There's one large bedroom, another reasonable sized bedroom, and then a room with cot beds and things in. So there's three sleeping areas in the place.
So it is potentially possible then that they could be found, if not lucrative employment here, at least they'd have a roof over their heads if they work around the farm.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pridee says, "Oh, we'll work hard. We don't need to own the place, but it's security, isn't it?" And she looks around and you can tell it's got brick flooring and it's pretty secure. There's no leaks in it. It's about as good a place you'll get. Definitely better than any of the structures you saw in Woodman Town when you were there, which all pretty much wood, with some of those had basically just bare earth floors.
Right, so in that case then, that's something for another day. Let's deal with the problem at hand.
Yep, our two bullies and I have a suspicion that the second bully has gone off to get some more help, even out the numbers.
Aye, we need some eyes outside, so we're pre-warned.
Yeah.
So Monan's going to go and go to the back room and just keep an eye out, looking through the back window.
The top left one, yeah?
Just there, if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah. No problem.
John, is that a side door over towards the east side of the house, or another door?
Yes, it is another door. So there's a main one and then a side door. That's basically the kitchen area.
So where are the other two at the moment? One went off for help and the other one just went missing. Is that right? They're out of
so
the
you
house
would assume he's in there.
That's his bedroom, I think.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's where you first met
She
him.
went out the window. She went out the window and legged it into the night. He doesn't seem too concerned, which I don't think he's worried. I think he knows what she's up to. So my suspicion is she's going to come back with some help, but we need to probably keep him out of mischief.
Can we just go and lock the door? Just put a couple of wedges under the door.
Yeah, his wife went out the window, so we may have to deal with that as well. But
well, let me have a little word with him, see what we're up against.
Moaning style.
So Monin will knock the door and then push it open if it's not locked.
You hear this sort of, what do you want? It's middle of the night.
Then he's going to go and sort of stand over and just try and some intimidation to basically say, look, we know you're rogues. You know what, she's gone to go and get some of your little roguish friends. Who are we up against? And if you're not telling the truth, when they come here, you're the first to be put to the sword, even though I don't own a sword.
So you
put to the hammer.
You open the door and he kind of sits up in bed and goes, can't we talk about all this stuff in the morning? There's just a misunderstanding here.
He's buying time.
He was actually lying in bed looking at it. He didn't seem overly concerned.
Yeah.
So...
Look, I asked you a question, so answer my question now. Sorry, now, please.
There's nothing to do with you, mate. It's me and my good friend, the woman and her
I'm gonna.
kids,
Can I
they're
punch
looking
him?
after him here.
Can I punch him in the face with the metal gauntlet?
He stepped it up a notch.
Just target him and
Break his
roll to
teeth.
hit. So attack with a walking stick, but don't do damage. It's only 1 damage if you hit. I'm assuming you want to pull the punch a little bit.
Oh yeah, just enough to wake him up a bit.
that woke him up. He goes, "Ah, what'd you do that for?"
Well, you're not listening to me. So do you want another one, or are you going to start answering my questions? Now try and use intimidate on him if possible.
He cowers over to the back of the bed a bit and says, all right, ease off. What do you want to know? I'm telling the truth.
Who's she going to get? You.
Sandy's scared. I don't know.
Right, so this is where he takes his hammer out and says, do you see this? Do you see what this would do to a man's head? So if she comes back with more than one person, I make you a promise. I'm going to put this on top of your head. So do you want to answer me a question again?
I've got a writ from King Bard. We own this. His voice is all high and weedy at the moment.
Let me see it.
Hang on, it's here. And he kind of goes across to the end of the bed, and he's looking very worried over his shoulder at you in case you like smack him over the back of the head with your hammer.
Well, I'm looking to make sure he doesn't go for any weapon, doesn't try and pull something out. I won't hit him. I'll kick him.
A bit. He's shaking a little, and he says, "Hang on, can you get a light going? I can't see anything in here. It's over in this desk. Hang on." And he goes over and he starts rummaging around in it, and then he pulls this out. So he shares that with you, and he kind of unfurls it and says, "Look, see, we own this."
Shares what? I can't see anything.
No, he's only Monin's looking at the moment. He's the only person in the room.
Right, this looks alright, and is there no seal on it though? Looks a bit of a splodge. So I have a very learned man. Brother Hathis, can you come here for me, please?
Absolutely. I will stop talking with Pridee and the kids to try and cover up the sound of the American-style interrogation going on, and I will travel to the other room. I'll wander through to join Monin.
So that's what Monin was just talking about. I've just shared it with.
Scrutinise it as a legal document, John, to see what I think of it in terms of whether it looks homemade or whether it looks official, properly official.
So give me an investigation check.
In the tower?
In the tower.
Whee.
Yeah.
Done.
2 things look really suspicious about this. One is you actually notice on Treal's right hand that there's his index finger's got ink on it.
And
the other thing you notice, there is no seal. You've seen the proclamation from Bard, and there was a seal accompanying that. And just the general language of this looks not like it was written by an educated man. So it was someone trying to do legalese without really knowing what they were doing by the looks of things.
I shall hand it back to Monin with a disdainful look on my face and say, total bunkum. It's a half-assed forgery, excuse my French, and not worth the paper it's written on.
Can I punch him again, please?
I'll go back to the other room. I'll leave you to it.
Of course. Stop it. Ow, I think you've broken my nose.
Let's try a new game here. Every time you lie, maybe I should just break a finger. Now, by the way, I'm not really going to do that because I know that's really an evil thing to do. But he's going to try and front it out a bit now and be a bit more intimidating. I'm losing patience with you.
So just out of character warning there. There's difference between intimidation and torture, which you're getting quite close to. So just bear that in mind. It's mainly from a shadow points point of view. So just
okay, fair enough.
So you're just about on the right side of it at the moment. So he is intimidated. You've just hit him again. He's got blood streaming down his nose now, and he says, all the antagonism seems to have gone out of him. He says, he looks really sullenly up at you. Blood bubbling out of his nose. What do you want to know then?
How many's coming? That's all I want to know, and that's it. Then we'll be done. Treal.
I generally don't know. It might be maybe 2, mate. It could be 3 or 4. I mean, we don't want to hurt anyone. We just want somewhere to live.
That's fair enough. Right, okay. Well, that's our business done with you then. No harm will come to you from me again, unless obviously you're lying, in which case you better run out that window.
He looks like evil-eyed through his eyes at you as you head back towards the door.
Yeah, and I'll go and tell everybody else what he's just said. 2, maybe coming 3. They just want a place to live.
Well, they have to realise this is now a no-go for them. You know, we're not going to go away. And even if we go away, Bard will just send a bigger force of bigger men, a detachment of soldiers or whatever. He's promised it to his advisor, hasn't he, as a wedding gift for his daughter. There's no way he's going to back down or change his mind. So the only thing that Treal and Sandy can do is to cut their losses and get the hell out and not come back.
You did not or have not mentioned Bard yet in the conversation with him that you're operating on his behalf. So just remind you of that.
So I think we should go and collectively lay down the options to Treal, which is basically go intercept your fool of a wife with whatever idiot she's bringing with her. Do not come here. Don't cause us any hassle. It's only going to get worse. You want to lose her. Cut your losses and get the hell out.
Yep.
Aye.
Right.
So do you want to do that? It is the middle of the night, and the kids are
Yes. Yeah. Because otherwise we're just, in half an hour's time, they could turn up, start smashing windows, expect to just drive us off and have an easy time. They may think they're protecting their win, they're what they found, their stash, but in fact, this is bigger than that. This is legal and authority, isn't it? So he needs to be told.
This pre-woman, we're going to turf her out too?
No. We had a bit of a conversation with her. She's done good work. There may well be a place for her. Since she's over the last 2 years, she seems to have done good, conscientious work. There may well be a place for her. Who knows? Not for us to say. But this rogue Treal has only been here for a month, not the 2 years that he said. He's turned up, muscled in on Pridee and the kids, beating her up, and they're just not doing any work and taking all the produce. So they are absolute freeloading scum, and they just keep driving off. And if they make it too much, if they make it too much worse, then they'll face justice, and we'll haul them in and then throw the book at them.
What's going to stop them doing the same thing to some other poor soul?
So you guys, everyone give me a law check in the tower. So Hathis and Sigmar, you're aware that there was a lot of casualties from the battle, and there will and you're aware of them, particularly Sigmar, before you started travelling around Dale. You would estimate that probably 20% of families may have lost husbands or wives who went to the battle. So this won't be uncommon. There will be a lot of people in Pridee's position.
Mm-hmm.
And people now, the immediate danger of orc raids and things is diminished over the last few years. The underworld is coming to life again, and you probably have some contacts there, or some nefarious people. So these sort of folk are probably more common than they would ever have been coming up to the war, where basically everyone was keeping their heads down.
So it's a security issue that Bard needs to be advised of, either directly or indirectly.
So what's the rogue guy's name?
Treal.
Treal.
Maybe we should haul him back to Bard. Let him deal with him.
I could do that.
Muscling in on people, forcing them to work for it, pretending that he owns properties. I'm sure that's not going to be.
Forging official documents. Yeah, they'd probably be quite harsh on people like that straight after the war. Be like, looters and such like.
I don't mind helping with that if you swan.
I'm not a great respect for the law, but people like him make me sick.
Right, well then maybe it's something better. Maybe we should get hold of him now.
He's still there.
Amalfrida, Hathis, in fact, all of you hear a window latch fall down.
Yeah.
In the room up the top.
I think he's bolted.
Okay.
After him.
Well, to what benefit? If he runs and goes away, doesn't come back, it's a problem that solves itself. If he comes back with his friends, he knows what's going to happen. Monin gave him a fairly clear warning.
Is it
running around in the dark because it's the middle of the night?
Oh,
yeah, it's really dark.
Yeah, fair enough. I only worry about if they come back again.
Mm-hmm.
But come back again when we're not here, and this women and our children are still here.
True.
So in the rooms that we've seen, is there quite a lot of personal possessions of Pridee and the kids?
very few. They look like they've got. You haven't seen like piles of clothes and washing around. It looks like this place was probably boarded up with a whole load of furniture in. This furniture wouldn't be theirs. It probably would have been with the house. So the only stuff in here is probably not owned by them, not owned by Pridee.
So if we need to, we could maybe take the woman and our 2 kids. Not leave them here, defenceless.
Yeah, it would only be for a few days. How long did it take us, John, to get from Dale to here?
About just over it. I think it was a very long day. It was like 12 hours. It's probably
not
about a day
too
and a
far
half.
away. So unless there's livestock that need daily tending, we can probably whisk them away with no ill effect.
Are there any other farmsteads nearby, John, or is this fairly isolated?
There are, but it's a little bit like, probably not quite as a rural area as where you live. The countryside is definitely more rolling and less hilly. But yeah, there are other farmsteads around. You haven't seen, you sort of rack your brains, you didn't really remember seeing any smoke coming out of chimneys of any of them. So could be miles to the nearest other farmstead that has people living in it.
Okay.
Do we want to nail windows shut, barricade doors, keep a guard, obviously, and settle down for the night, or do we think we ought to do anything else?
I'd suggest just putting somebody on guard and then just settling down rather than nailing windows.
Okay. It's just my paranoia kicking in.
Oh yeah, you'll have set guards. At least have some. Let's step. I mean, if there's nothing nearby, where are their friends staying? I'm sure there must be a near farmstead. So how far would the nearest farmstead be?
Probably half a mile to a mile.
All right, so they could get here and back within half an hour or so.
Oh yeah, Sandy's been gone for probably 2 hours now. You got here around. You think she disappeared around 9 o'clock? It's probably 11:30 midnight at times, so maybe come out for 3 hours.
Yeah, in which case then Mona's going to go and take a village vigil in the back window again.
Do you want to use the watch order as posted? And if you wanted, you could put the kids in beds now. The main threat in the house has disappeared, rather than all bedding down in the lounge area.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, the watch goes pretty uneventfully. It's now 8 a.m. on the following day, and you've found it pretty easy. You've actually had a decent night's sleep. It was warm and dry in here. No one came back, and Pridee looks like a big weight's lifted off the shoulders in the morning, and she busies herself in the kitchen. There are some mushrooms and things she's frying up on the stove as you all get up and go through, see what she's doing, and the kids are looking ravenous, all sitting around the table, got like a fork in each hand and looking to get stuck into some mushrooms.
But they're not as good as Amalfrida's honey cakes.
Careful.
he smiles at Amalfrida and raises his hands disarmingly. Only we joke, we go.
We shall ignore that remark.
So it's a pretty warm morning. You wake up and it's sunrise is early. It's before 5. It's still pleasant. There is not a lot of problems with the day. It seems like everyone's spirits got lifted by helping her out.
Hathis will go out fairly early, wander around to that back bedroom window and see if there's any clear and obvious footprints sort of receding from that window outwards. He won't go too far, but if there's a trail, he'll come back and tell others there appears to be a trail. We may be able to follow where they went, or at least watch in the right direction.
Okay, so give me a survival check in the tower if you're having a look around for those. You can see what looks like some trails of a woman going northeast, and then another set of footprints. Probably, so it's probably Sandy went northeast and Treal probably went north.
Okay.
It looks like they've gone separate directions.
I'll go back and tell the others. See 2 sets of footprints, one his, one hers, probably coming out the window, one heading north, one heading northeast.
Oh, strange, not gone together. Looking roughly.
They may have a couple of friends, and he may have headed for one, and she may have headed for the other, not knowing where the other's gone.
I mean, how open is it north and northeast? How far can we see? Is there anything of note in those directions?
Probably visibility is constrained by copses and old fences that are a bit dilapidated now. You could probably see maximum of like half a mile, so it's quite rolling. You'll be constrained by the next hill, basically.
Is there nothing
obvious
high ground?
Nothing obvious, no. Yeah, well, you can climb up a hill. I mean, this is built
Yeah.
into the lee shore of a hill, so obviously some wind protection.
Yeah, if there's an easy hill, like within 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, you could climb up
Go
the hill
up
at the
there.
back of the house. So.
Try and get a better vantage, maybe able to see another roof. Or
Monin will go with him if that's what Hathis is doing.
Yep.
Yeah, you climb up to a hill. Up there, there is a farmstead about another half mile. You're standing under a tree. There's been an old length of rope tied to a branch in it with a stick, cross stick. Looks like a
swing. Yep. There's no sort of makeshift posse or anything heading our way from that farm or anything like that. Then it looks all.
No, you haven't seen other than last night. You haven't seen any other soul around really.
Okay, looks quiet. We could either set up a watch here, but that seems like an overreaction, or we could just see what happens.
I don't know. I'm conflicted because I think the whole point was checking this place out. Now we know what it's like, so we can pull out now.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just don't know if that woman in particular is going to come back with friends. Maybe we should go after and see at least where she.
Right. Okay. I don't mind. I'm happy with either. Just don't want the woman and her two wee bollocks getting beaten up or something while we're not here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what my worry is. We go out, go off and do something else, and then they just return. Only this time they kick them out or do even.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's surprising that the man and the woman went in different directions.
Well, presuming Monin and Hathis will head back to the farmhouse, John, so we're all together.
Okay.
Rather than keep splitting up, then we can at least have a decent conversation. Alfreda and Sigmar about what folks want to do.
Pridee relocates to the kitchen. She's feeding the kids.
Smart, yeah.
Monin will do the same then. I still chat in the kitchen because these need part of the. They need to be part of the discussion as well.
Yeah.
Pridee's adding some tomatoes to the pan. Looks like you didn't see any, but there may be some chickens. She's got some eggs going now as well.
Smells good.
One of the best meals you've had for a long time.
Let's just stay here.
You said you needed a man.
So she looks optimistically over at you all. So did you drive him off? Are they gone for good now?
You just don't know with people like that.
Aye. That's the problem with Miss. This place is going to be taken over by Odvarr and his kin. But if we pull out and tell them that in the time we're gone, these other ones might return, and we wouldn't have anything bad happening to us. So maybe you and your wee kids could come with us.
Where are you going? Have you got a house somewhere?
No, it's just we could put you up for a little while, but it's just so we go back, report what we found here, and then when they come to reoccupy this house, you could maybe come with them if it's up with them.
She looks resolved and nods and says, "All right. And where are we going though?"
Well, we've come from Dale.
Oh right, I used to live in she takes a bit of a deep breath. My husband and I used to live in Esgaroth, so I know Dale.
Hathis is going to act a little bit nervous, and him and who on the dog are going to go for a walk around the perimeter of the building. Just he's a little anxious of this waiting game.
Yeah, Monin's been
just
positioned by a window.
Outside. That's fine.
Yeah, Hathis is going to walk around the perimeter in a sort of a slightly nervous, slightly doesn't like waiting kind of way, yeah?
Yeah, no worries.
And he's got the dog with him.
I thought Monin was doing the washing up then. No. Okay, so you're just patrolling around.
He's not going to keep going and going. He'll duck back in. He's just it's a sort of fidgety, nervous kind of, doesn't like just sitting there waiting, as it were. But
So Pridee says, after the kids are wrapping up their breakfast, she says, "Right, kids, we're going to go for a walk back to Dale with these nice men who helped us out. And what I need you to do is pack up your stuff. You know, you've got those little carvings and things and those little toys. And we're going to go to Dale with these nice men, and they're going to help us." The little girl looks quite relieved. The boy's like, "Oh, Mum." And looks a bit annoyed with it. And then sulkily, they both go and do as they're told.
Cool.
Okay. How, John, remind me, how long is it back to Dale from here? It's quite a way, isn't it?
It's about 12. You probably couldn't do it with the kids in a day. You did a very long walk. It's about 30 30 to 40 miles. So
Oh, right, okay.
realistically need a couple of days to do that.
Right, yeah.
Hathis is going to nip out and round it back again because he feels a bit worried with the kids now being in a different room to us. They could get snatched, so he might patrol around a bit. He's a bit paranoid.
Okay, you go round. Haven't seen anything. I mean, you've
Brilliant.
been patrolling around for 30 minutes or so.
Monan's going to spend his
do you
time
want to head
swatting
out?
those
It's
flies.
like early morning.
Yeah, if that's the plan, to take everybody back to Dale and get them settled in Dale. Yeah.
Monin swats the fly.
Hooray!
Because I had a menu. Fly.
How are you going to secure that farmhouse, or are you going to?
Well,
Is it worth?
sorry.
Is it worth actually just nailing some sort of, those of you that can write some sort of proclamation that this actually by order of whatever this belongs to somebody else?
Yep, under the protection of Hathis can quite happily try and write something pompous, saying it's now under the protection of King Bard himself. Tresbasters will be introduced to Monin.
Tresbasters.
Is there wood around just in case we need to nail the windows?
Yeah, you'd need to kind of. It's basically unfinished wood, so it's tree limbs you'd be able to use, or smaller versions. It'll be a bit tricky. You'll probably be able to wedge them. You haven't found any things like nails, unless you've got them.
The problem is, if we're away for days, they'll have hours to break in, smash through stuff. So all you're going to do is just create more destruction by making them do that. And if they're farmers of any sort, they will be practical enough to just, undo what we've done very quickly and easily. We're just giving you an excuse to break things.
Sigmar, give me an insight check in the tower. So Sigmar is racking his brain and scratching his chin, and he says, "Not sure, I can't quite place the accent, but I think it's a city one from Treal. I don't think he's from around here. I'm not sure. Yeah, he might not be coming back. I don't know."
Yeah.
But it was the woman who got everybody suspicious first of all, wasn't it? And she headed off in a different direction, but she hasn't come back.
Well, maybe they're not coming back. If they either are or they aren't. We can't do much about whether or not they do. All we can do is sort them out if they do.
Yeah, I think we write a pompous note, put it on the door so they can't say they didn't know, and then go. We just get on with what we're supposed to be doing. And if they come back, we're not going to be here, so they can do what they want almost.
Aye.
Okay, you find looks like Treal left. Well, you can write it on the back of his note.
Actually, let me hang on
ink
a
and
minute.
pen
Let's just check. Have I got any writing? No, gaming kit, mess kit, paint. I thought I might have got pen and ink, but I don't have pen and ink.
Call yourself a scholar, man. What's going on?
Exactly. It's my photographic memory is all I've got.
Okay, so you scroll out a note. Yep. If you want to write something specific, just let me know. But it's basically, this is the Odvarr Farmstead by order of King Bard. Yep. Trespassers will be persecuted or something like that. And you pin it up to the door. That takes you about 20 minutes. It's now about 8:30, 9 o'clock. The kids have got bundles. It's properly cute. They've got bundles tied to the end of a stick over each of their shoulders. Pridee looks like she picks up what looks like a really good seasoned cast iron skillet and then looks at you and puts it back down again. And then says, "Well, don't think I've got anything else. Like, it's a nice warm day out there. You kids will be nice and fine." And then she looks around at you guys and says, "Will it get cold at night? We haven't slept outside now for a long time. Although it is late spring, so it should be okay."
If we've got any kind of... I've got a blanket.
Yeah. It'll be beautiful under the stars. You'll love it. It'll be an adventure.
"Yeah, Mum, yeah, it'll be great. Let's go." He seems really excited now.
I've got a bedroll blanket for a lined travelling cloak, so they can use that if it gets cold.
You've got everything. Perfect.
Let's go.
Okay, you head out and start walking west. The trail's pretty straightforward. You basically followed a river valley, a small basically stream. Looks like it was eventually ending up by the river going south from Dale, and made good progress. The going's very easy. You do see after half a day a man on a horse. It's like he looks like he's also heading to Dale, and he was coming slightly north of where you are. You wave. He looks like a farmer. First person you've seen. Looks like he was taking something on his horse to Dale. And that's it. It's now early evening. You are getting ready to camp. Made good time. You'll probably be there by about, you would estimate, mid-afternoon tomorrow. If you get up early.
Cool. Is that watches again?
Yes.
Yep. I should probably stop the birds tweeting because it's nighttime now. However, you wake up in the morning, fully refreshed, feeling good. You carry on walking. The scenery here is rolling, fairly rugged. It looks like it would have been a fairly heavily farmed area, especially as you're getting closer and closer to Dale and Esgaroth area. But there are many, many fallow fields, tumbled dry stone walls that have gone to rack and ruin, and it looks like it's fairly sparsely populated now.
Right.
But by mid-afternoon, you make it back to Dale, and the kids are just fascinated. It's clearly they haven't been here in a long time and would have been very young when they were probably last in a big town. And they're looking at the smells and the sounds and finding it really, really interesting. What do you want to do?
Is Sigmar got a house here? Or has Sigmar got a house here?
I think I've got lodgings or something like that.
Yeah, you do have lodgings at your father's place, I seem to recall.
Yeah, didn't we all sleep on the floor there?
Yeah, in your room. Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to crash at my pa's again, if you wish. Not very salubrious.
It's the woman and her kids.
Yeah. Get them a base.
Did she say she had relatives in Dale?
I think it was
That's why we
Esgaroth.
come here.
Oh, mate.
She was
Esgaroth.
originally from Esgaroth. Her and her husband, well, she moved after her husband never came back from the Battle of the Five Armies, and has been pretty much an itinerant since then. She's just been walking around in the countryside, and so probably doesn't have anything in Esgaroth, at least nothing in her name.
So we need to, I guess, get Pridee and the kids somewhere a base, and then we need to, I guess, ask for an audience either with the advisor. Maybe with the advisor. It might be quicker than trying to get an audience with King Bard, who is exceptionally busy.
Is
And the
it
advisor-
it's Odvarr?
Yeah, it's Odvarr we need to see.
Yes. And we had dinner with him the other, 3-4 days ago, didn't we?
We have time, so you could, if you wanted, pay for an inn for the night for Pridee and her kids.
Yeah,
and
how much is
then
that?
go and see Odvarr.
Yeah.
It is inexpensive by maybe 4 coppers.
Yeah, Monan will pay that.
She looks really thankful and says, and the kids look, wow, it's a tavern. And the little boy goes immediately
Let's
into
get
the bar
wasted.
area, looking around and looking at, standing next to couples drinking at tables or at the bar, and things look fascinating. She's chivvies him along, and they all go upstairs into the room we paid for. So she looks really thankful.
Before they go, he'll try and sneakily go, here you go, wee bollocks, and give them a copper piece each.
He's a softie.
He said the little girl gives you a doesn't even have to reach up very high, gives you a kiss on the stubbly, beardy cheek, and then the little boy says, Mum, look what the fat man gave me. And then runs back to Mum, and Pridee shakes her head and says, mouth sorry to you, and then they head upstairs.
Wee bollocks.
Okay, so it's now probably equivalent to about 4 bells past noon, so late afternoon, people are beginning to wind down for the day. If you wanted to try and find Odvarr, he's probably still at his place of work.
May as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you go around to Odvarr's, and he is very thankful to see you. He says, "Oh, come in," and it looks like he was mound of paperwork. He's quite pleased to push to one side of his desk, and he sits back and looks you up and says, "So, how is the old place? Is it doing okay?"
Well, the good news is it's in a very good state of repair. In fact, it is running. It's been run by a lady and her children quite efficiently. The bad news is it has attracted this itinerant lady who's doing a very good job, but also some bullies unrelated to her have just recently moved in as well, and there's a bit of a sort of a not quite battle for control, but some contention over the ownership and running of the farm. So it's in a good state of repair, but we had to run off these bullies, and we don't know what their next move may be.
He starts frowning as you're regaling this.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like the lass and the kids as well to be done right.
So who is this woman? Do you know her?
No, she's the one who's fixed the place up, as Brother Haas has just said. The itinerant and our 2 wee kids. Done a very good job.
What's her history?
She lost her husband she claims she lost her husband in the war, and for the last 2 years has been squatting, if you like, at the farm with her 2 children, doing the best she can to raise her children and keep them fed and clothed, a roof over their heads. And she seems to have treated the farm with respect. But over the last month, as I say, this bully called Treal and his wife, supposedly called Sandy, have moved in, pushed her to one side, beaten her when she's dared stand up to them, and are basically just taking what they want and mistreating her and the place potentially. So 2 different stories, all of them eyeing, like I'm sure is happening across the land at the moment, eyeing this resource that is potentially unclaimed as far as they're concerned, and greedily or opportunistically moving in. They see an opportunity.
He mutters under his breath, and then you can tell he showed real empathy and compassion when you mentioned her husband being or disappearing in the battle.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, I'd like to meet the lady, and I will obviously need to check her story all works out. But if she was married, and you said from Dale she originally came from?
Esgaroth, I believe.
From Esgaroth. Okay, well, we should be able to get the records there. All marriages are recorded, so if it checks out, I've got no problem, I think. Not sure my daughter and her husband will be able to pay them a lot, but helping around the farmstead, I'd recommend that to them.
That's what we hoped. That's the best we could hope for. We're pleased to hear that, I think.
Aye.
Well, there's no time like the present. Bring her here, and he actually looks at his paperwork and says, tell you what, where's she staying? Let's go there.
Definitely doesn't want to do that pile of paperwork.
We've all been there.
And so he pulls his coat on, and he's as you know, he finds a bit of a struggle. He's only got one hand. Pulls it on okay though, and then ushers you out, locks his door, and then you head back to the tavern you were in.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 minutes later, Pridee comes downstairs with the 2 children. It looks like they're cleaner and fresher. They've still got the same old clothes on. And she looks at Hathis and Monin and whispers to Hathis, so who's this old man?
This gentleman is Odvarr. He owns the farm and he's advisor to King Bard himself. I would speak
her eyes go quite wide,
yeah,
and she redens in the face.
I would speak only the truth to him, and if you speak the truth, I'm sure everything will be okay.
Oh, Mr. Odvarr, sir, we didn't mean nothing by it. I didn't know it was your house, but we treated it nice. We didn't take anything, and there was a little hole in the roof. We fixed that, and we've done some planting, and the fields are all looking, well, the ones closest are all looking good. And she's like a rush of information she's telling him, and he kind of puts his hands up and says, oh, that's just calm down. Who was your husband? And she says, he was Joe. And then she looks really sad at that, and she says, and it's hard role playing with yourself. Odvarr then says, okay, take a seat, and he orders a round of drinks, and would the kids like some food? And she looks very thankful for him, and he orders a chicken to be brought over. Everyone settles down, and she tells a little bit more of her story. So her husband Joe, they were married about 8-9 years ago. His surname he isn't familiar with. It's Smithson, but he says, he makes a note and says, all right, Pridee, I will check this out. I know we have regular folk that go to and from Esgaroth. If it checks out, I will ask you to meet my daughter and son-in-law, and they may well be able to take you on at the farm. I'm quite hopeful that they will, because they're going to need all the help they can get. And even if it doesn't, and he looks over at you guys, I'll make sure that you're housed here, and we can always looking for good people in the town to help rebuild. So be assured you're not going to go without shelter. Just won't be in my old place unless my daughter says so. And she looks relieved, emotional, tears in her eyes. Kids are just ripping legs off chickens and stuffing it in their face at the moment. So they're really enjoying themselves. Looks like they haven't had that kind of protein and stuff for a long time. Over to you.
Monin looks pleased, looks very pleased for once.
So what do we want to do about the farmhouse itself and the potential for Treal and Sandy plus their friends to come back and reclaim it now it is genuinely empty. Do we have a timescale for your daughter's arrival there, Odvarr?
I don't know, to be honest. The wedding isn't for another month. I'll check with her. They're staying here today, and she pretty nods. Right, my daughter will come round tomorrow, Pridee, if that's okay, and meet with you over breakfast. He looks very fondly at the kids and says, I'm sure she'll take you really well. We'll see where that goes.
Brilliant, that's very kind. So is he still there, or has he gone, John?
He finishes his drink and says, till tomorrow, madam, and thank you for your help here. I would just go and see King Bard. He looks at Pridee. Before you head out, you have my thanks, and my daughter's too. Are you going to be staying in the tavern as well?
Amalfreda nods.
Apparently so.
Aye.
Okay, well, I will see you tomorrow with my daughter then. I'm sure she'll want to thank you. And with that, he bids you good night, and Pridee says, come on, kids, up you go to bed now. It's probably 8:30, 9 o'clock, and kids are like wide-eyed and loving themselves in the tap room of this tavern. The little boy pockets a chicken leg on his way up the stairs, and they disappear up to bed.
I feel good about that.
That's pretty good. The only worry, obviously, is if the bad guys come back and find the farmhouse empty. But do we really want to babysit the farmhouse for days or weeks until the happy couple move in, or do you think we can outsource that?
Back with them, and if there's anybody there, we can deal with the problem. If there's not, just assume that it's going to be fine. Because, any farm could have unwelcome visitors. We don't want to look after them all.
Yep, no, it's fair enough.
Aye, fair point. Also, there's a matter of that
so
other
will
job,
Yes.
which I assume if we did this one okay, then King Bard will talk to us about the other one.
There was a message to take to Karok, wasn't it? Or Bjorn, or something like that. Some such.
Yeah, be on at the Carrot, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I think we've got an evening in an inn.
So cross off, I guess you're just sharing a couple of rooms, or you may even need one because at least a couple of you could sleep at Sigmar's place if you wanted.
It's four coppers for a room.
Yeah, just cross off 4. That'll do for the balance, and then between you, the morning comes round. It's another nice day. You come down to the common room, and about 30 minutes later, as you're eating, you see Pridee and the kids come down, and literally 10 minutes after that, Odvarr and this probably early 30s something lady comes into the room, introduces herself as someone come up with a female name. Blossom, thank you.
Blossom.
I'm Blossom Odvarr, and my father says that, and she then looks, obviously where Pridee and the kids are sitting, that there's a nice lady who has been helping get our farm back together, and she's clearly making up words here to make Pridee feel at home. And Pridee smiles at that, and she sits down and introduces herself to Pridee, and the children said, I'll be with you in a minute. Comes up and then very formally shakes you all by the hand and says, well, thank you on behalf of my father for checking out the farm. It's nice to know it's going to be safe now. And then goes and sits back down and starts chatting with Pridee. You glance over and it seems like they're really hitting it off. They're laughing, they're talking, the kids are chipping in, and Odvarr looks really pleased and looks at you guys and says, well, that looks good. I'll need to make some other arrangements to just make sure there's nothing untoward going to be happening at the place over the next month or two. I think a couple of men should do it. I think you should probably go and talk to Bard about what you saw. Did you get a sense that this fella was operating and his wife on their own, or how big a band do you think they were with? Because we may need to send some patrols out there.
It's difficult to say.
Yep, they
Okay.
only told us about a few, but that place seems relatively unsettled, and there's a few places that are left, so I imagine they're not an isolated incident.
Yeah, it's a couple of days away, and used to be lots of farming out that far. It's gradually working its way back out from Dal and Esgaroth again, but he shakes his head. It's going to take a few more years before that's going to be well populous. Well, at least they'll have a head start, and it's free. He grins as things free go. Well, thank you very much for your help. If you're ever in town again, look me up. Go and see Bard. Sorry, and launches himself King Bard, and then I will make good my day. And he heads out the door, and he calls over his shoulder, Blossom, come and see me this evening if you can. Maybe early evening, actually. Well, maybe about 4 o'clock. think as he starts thinking about his paperwork again, and then he heads out.
Right,
Okay.
I guess we ought to get breakfast down, then book in to get an appointment slot to see King Bard.
Aye, good idea.
Okay, you head back to Bard, and
Bard.
you can't get an appointment till the afternoon. But he sees you and says he seems to be walking between meetings. So Odvarr, yes, Odvarr's farm. So how did it go?
It went well. There appears to be, as you might well imagine, a security problem in that area. A number of farmsteads that are no longer either populated at all or have, obviously, a number of able men has gone down to protect these farmsteads and work the land. So there appears to be growing numbers of predatory rogue in the area, squatting and taking over these farms, claiming them as their own. So that obviously seems to be a growing problem. But in the case of Odvarr's farm, we nipped it in the bud. We've chased off the rogues who were there, introduced Blossom, Odvarr's daughter, to Pridee. It was a lady who was working the farm and doing a very good job about it and being conscientious. And Odvarr says he's going to try and get a couple of men over there to make sure the farmstead is kept safe. So in all, everything's seems to have turned out well.
Splendid. Thank you. And I misspoke last time when I introduced Bard. He is not that charismatic. He's extremely straight spoken. Basically, he doesn't have the Bill Clinton way with words at all. So, and it's actually Sigmar probably appreciates him even more from that. He's definitely one of the common people with a bit of a rough tongue sometimes, but just very, very honourable. But in all of your dealings with him so far, and just looks very hassled by time, not enough time, and too much to do. Okay, he thanks you and says, "Well, leave that with us." And he shakes his head. Bloody brigands! And then, all right. Thanks for the warning. Odvarr's sensible bloke. By the sound of things, they weren't that well organised a band. There's some more problems closer to home, if I'm being honest. But what I'll like you to do, if it wasn't so urgent, I would send you back out there just to settle them in. But if you're okay and you've got plans to head back west, I'd love if you could take this message over to the Carrack for me. Bjorn needs to hear an update. I haven't given him one for about 6 months.
He won't need us, will he?
And actually, Amalfrida is Bjorn likely to eat the city dwellers?
Amalfrida just frowns.
Yes, we'd love to. We'd be more than willing to take this message to Bjorn, provided he doesn't eat us at the other end, and we'd be honoured.
Aye.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate all the help, and he says, "Oh God, yeah, payment." I've forgotten about that. And he shouts, "Derek!" And there's like this hassled middle-aged man sort of jogs up. Looks like he's around the corner. What did we agree? 20 silver, wasn't it? Oh yeah, right. So 20 silver, and he's got this big ledger with him, and he starts scrawling in it. Not here. Take them with you, you fool. And then
pony stuff. Get the ponies.
And don't worry, I've remembered that. Actually, Derek, we found him a nice one, didn't we? And he says, and he starts scrolling. Don't do that now. Go and sort that out in your own room. Go with Derek. He will take care of you. Come back to my room before you go. I'm gonna just check the missive and a couple of things I need to add to the end. But you should be ready to go tomorrow. Pick up the message before you go late this afternoon. And you go with Derek, and he takes you to a small side room, and it's just full of ledgers. Looks like this guy is basically a born-again accountant. He has got like chalkboards on the wall with lots of things written on them and scrawl. His ledger looks to be a financial ledger, and as he gets there, he turns open the page and looks like there's a payments column, and he's crossing off the silver pieces. So who shall I say this is payable to? He looks optimistically around you all.
Sigmar.
So, Sigmar, who the
Oh, God.
untrustworthy.
Trickster, wasn't it?
The trickster.
That's it, yeah. Don't use your full name.
Don't tell him,
Just
Pope.
Sigmar of Dale. Okay, so he writes down Sigmar of Dale in his book, 20 silver, and then he goes over to a coffer.
That's an unusual name,
the back.
Sigmar of Dale. Don't have many of them.
He picks up a key off the desk and unlocks it. Comes back with a 20 silver, counts it out onto the table in 4 piles, very neatly of 5 coins each, and hands it to you all. Hang on one moment.
Sigmar, son of Sandar.
Sigmar, son of Sandar. Oh, now you bloody tell me, he says, and then he crosses out of Dale and puts son of Sandar in the ledger. And then he says, "Oh, horse. Right, here you go. Here's a chit. Go to the stables around the back of the palace, the royal stables. Sorry, and there is a pony there that." Yeah, it's Slack, I think. Ask for Slack the pony, and it's been allocated to you.
Smack the pony or slack the pony?
Slack with an L in the middle. And he hands you a piece of paper which basically authorises the requisition of a pony called Slack from the royal stables.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You gained a little bit of coin. You go and pick up the pony. Who wants to control Slack the pony? It's sturdy and looks quite well maintained. Anyone could really.
Well, it depends. If Brother Hathis is okay with it, then I don't mind. It's just really to take our inventory, excess inventory, isn't it? Really.
Yep.
Just a flag. It's not free actions to control beasts, and you've already got a dog, so just flag that for you.
I'm getting bogged down with animals here.
But in normal run of the mill travel, it's fine. You're not going to need to make any control checks. It's really, I don't know, if you get attacked by a bunch of orcs, you may need to control the pony or whatever. So, and he attacks with hooves if you're ever interested. So just for information, he can carry, you would suspect, about 300 pounds, which is more than enough for all of your equipment. It will really make travel a lot easier for you. And he actually does look in really good condition. Very glossy coat. He's very well fed. Teeth are good. So King Bard was good to his word.
Cool, brilliant.
And if you remember, this was basically payment for doing Bard's work by taking it west. So this was your kind of prospective reward for going west with the message. So it's cool, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, basically.
Yeah, because it's funny. We find it quite difficult to get one of these, so I'm glad about that. Because it means we can put a whole load of travel rations on it now. Yeah.
Okay, so you have yourself a horse. It's now towards the end of the day. Now you go back to Bard's office. You have to wait a little bit, but he kind of bustles out and he hands you you were expecting like maybe a parchment or a letter, and you're aware that there is definitely Amalfrida and who else would know? Hathis have seen real letters, sealed letters coming from the west of the mountains to Wilderland, but they're very, very sparse here, and it tends to be sort of dedicated couriers that take them. There's no such thing as a mail delivery service, apart from maybe from the Shire. However, this is a square package, probably about the size of an A4 piece of paper, and it's sealed in a leather wallet by the looks of things, about that size, with a fairly thick wax seal with Bard's stamp on it and a ribbon on the back. So it looks like it's naturally fairly waterproofed. And he says, and he looks you all in the eye, make sure this gets there. This is important information. No peeking. And he smiles a bit and then says, and good luck with the travel. I understand you picked up the horse.
Yes.
And can I ask you to depart as soon as possible?
Yeah, I was going to say, is this Bard asking us this?
Yes.
In which case, yes, sir.
Excellent. Good to hear. And pats you all on the back, and then bustles out. Already you're out of his mind, and he closes the door behind you. So
right,
you make your way back to the inn. Yeah.
There's no point leaving this late in the day, I imagine. First thing tomorrow morning.
The inn's filling up. It's early evening. There's a bard in there playing his lute, and you're fairly well settled. You see Pridee come down. It looks like the son was just in the bar looking at dice games that some of the men were playing. And he goes and gets her, and she comes down with all of the family, and she thanks you hugely and says, "Well, that Miss Blossom, she was lovely. She's said if her father, as he said, checks out that I'm telling the truth, and I am, I want to tell you, then she would like to take me on as like a housekeeper and a cook, and I'm good at that and helping around the farm, and my kids will be welcome there as well. So I want you to say a huge thank you to all of you."
That's great news, fantastic news, and well done you.
Aye, good.
Okay, so she disappears up. It looks like she's not got anywhere to stay tonight, but she's this man and Blossom come to the inn while she was upstairs, and Blossom introduced her prospective husband to you, who also thanks you, and they disappear. It looks like she's taking Pridee and the kids to their lodgings, wherever that is in the town now.
Good.
Well done.
That's been a good result.
Anything you want to... Yeah, congrats. And no bloodshed. Well, a tiny amount of bloodshed. And you got Monin's gauntlets a bit bloodied, but that's it.
And I think...
Any preparations you want to take... anything you want to do tonight while you're still in the tavern?
I guess we need to find a quiet corner and maybe ponder our route a little bit.
Yeah, and Monin's are naturally suspicious, so ever since we've taken this package, he's asked for it to be hidden by whoever wants to hide it, but also been sort of just keeping an eye out to see if anybody's following them, taking more of an interest in than they normally would than expected.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you secreted it away before you left, so you're fairly okay with... There's nothing suspicious going on, if that's what you're asking.
I'm not going to leave it on its own in a room for too long, I think. So I'm not going to be down the bar drinking for 4 hours with it upstairs, vulnerable, tucked under the mattress. I think that's a bit...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's small enough you could put it under your clothing and keep it on you. I'm sure Hathis has got some deep pockets in his travel clothes.
I could use my special poacher's pocket.
Yeah, I bet Sigmar does. Sigmar the trickster.
Absolutely.
Sigmar has already lost it in his cloak. So
he's already steamed it open, photocopied it, and sealed it back up again.
Sorry, boys, can't find it anywhere. Okay, you have an enjoyable evening. You play some dice, smoke a pipe or two, enjoy a few glasses of the local ales, and decide to get a fairly early start. You may want to do a little bit of outfitting in the morning.
Monin's definitely going to try and play the horn at some point in the evening. Just because he's been so bad so far, at some point he's bound to roll better.
Okay, give me a performance check as you stand up after a few beers with the bard.
Oh, finally!
That's better.
Oh, you joined in beautifully, and there was actually a few people clapping along. There was another dwarf in the back of the room who starts speaking in Dwarvish to you. Sorry, Kuzdul, in a very drunken way, and is having an absolute blast in the pub, and especially as there's a dwarf on a horn up there. So you have a fine night is had by all. In fact, a very fine night for the dwarf. Okay, it's morning. Could you cross off another 4 copper between you for the room, and then in the morning, what I suggest is you spend the day learning from your experience. You can level up. We'll take a 10-minute break for you guys to do that, or longer if you need it. And also just to outfit for a journey west. You have a pony now, but you'll probably want to make a little bit of prep for that. But you basically were here, I believe. So that's in the upper marches. That's where Odvarr's farm was.
Right, okay.
You're now in Dale, which is just south of Erebor, and you're heading to here. So you'll need to plan the route and make sure you're equipped if you need anything new before the
So we
journey
could just
gets
backtrack where we went before, really, down the elf path, stay at Rowan Hold, see our friends, see how they're getting on, and then head south down to Carrick, maybe.
Yeah. So it's good to route it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we head for the sanctuary of Rowan Hold first.
No problem. And you head out.